Our first storyteller for this second half has done a lot of journeying, a lot of traveling. And we're going to get to go on one of those trips with her tonight. She's from here in Asheville. So please help me welcome Kathy Ramirez. The name just went. I'm going to say that one more time. Join me in welcoming Kathy Ramirez.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back. As we get started on this second portion this evening, what I would like to do to kind of introduce this next slice of the journey is if we could all sing, chant, say the word love 3 times together as a room full of beings, full of light in this room. And you can close your eyes with me. I invite you to do that, or if you'd like to keep them open, feel free. And if you don't want to do anything at all, you are more than welcome to do that too. But I'm just going to close my eyes now. You're welcome to join me. We'll take a deep collective inhale. Love. And as the Beatles say, that's all you need, right? Well, we are going to journey with that a little bit further and a little bit deeper with my story this evening, which took place actually just a few weeks ago, partially on the road that's actually right outside of this building on Highway 70. I took a pilgrimage, a peace pilgrimage, from my home in Asheville, North Carolina, to Hamptonville, which is about 45 minutes north of Charlotte. It's about a 125-mile journey, door to door. I walked to a retreat center that I go to called the Well of Mercy. It was a walk of peace. I wanted to see how the backcountry of North Carolina would encounter a modern-day pilgrim. I didn't take very much with me. I had a tent in case I could camp or sleep in the back of somebody's yard, which that became most of the journey. I had a small sleeping liner, a few toiletries, and just a small change of clothes that I could wear at night to really add to the warmth of what I had on. As we know, this summer has lingered into fall. And on this journey, it was also an exploration of fear. Is fear real? We know from social media, we know from the news that there seems to be a lot of fear in America. I did not want to be fearful of my own backyard. I didn't want to be fearful of the land that I walked on. So this was a journey in, is that fear warranted? What does it look like? So when walking in peace and walking in love, I found myself walking hand in hand with fear. As love encounters so many things, it includes this beautiful container, really, that holds pain, suffering, and fear. And when you all boil it down, it really all comes to fear anyway. And so this journey took me about 9 days. And the day in particular I'd like to share with you today is day 5, where peace and pain walked hand in hand. I was going from Morganton to Lenoir, and I was at this point on Highway 64, and I'd already walked 60 miles, so average about 15 miles a day or so. And at this point in the journey, as I started out my first few miles of this particular morning, I just had this really searing pain on my legs. And the funny thing about a journey is you can anticipate every aspect, you can envision it, but it's those things that you don't anticipate that always ask for your attention. So it really goes to show that you don't really need to worry about a journey or try to plan it out because it's all just going to happen. So on this particular day, it was this sense of I had to abandon any notion of what this journey was going to look like from this day forward. And what called me to that attention was the fact that the footprint that we are making on Mother Earth found a big footprint upon both of my legs, from my knees to my toes. Do you see the chemicals from the car exhaust on the cars get embedded into the grass on the side of the road? Now, as you're looking out the road and looking onto the shoulders, it looks beautiful and green. Sometimes maybe there's flowers there. Maybe it's just a brush of dead weeds or leaves. But within that, there is threaded the chemicals from our cars. And this chemical found itself as a black dust from my knees to my toes for the last 4 days. Luckily, the night before, the kind woman that let me stay in her home let me wash my clothes. And even in these first few miles on this day 5, I rolled up my pants because I was just checking out my legs. They were very, very red. But yet above that red was just that black dust already. It was already in my clothes. It couldn't get out. And also within that redness and the little black dust, little black particles, my skin was starting to ulcerate a little bit, right? Like it was starting to get these like little bumps. So within this pain as I was feeling, my walk was becoming very staggered and very unstable. My shoes were hurting, my socks were hurting. The brush of my pants upon my legs was just screaming for my attention. Now, I thought I could just keep muscling on and just keep going, but the more that cars passed me, I recognized that as the wind that they passed by and they gave to me carried a message of get off the road, get off the road, get off the road. I started to really consider that as a possibility, that I didn't need to be walking with this traffic today, because so much of taking a pilgrimage, and what I realized in particular, one with so much traffic, you see, it's not like walking the Appalachian Trail or the Camino de Santiago or anything like that. You know, I had done pilgrimages on trails, and I'd done a cycling pilgrimage before, but you know, I was never so close to traffic in this way, and you really had to energetically read your energy, where you were in that moment, and also the energy of the car coming and the person in the car. A car seems like an inanimate object, but it's still down to Physics 101, it still has energy within it, and it's still feeding with that energy of the person that's driving it. So 2 cars driving 35 miles per hour down the road are not driven the same. You can sense if one is driven with anger, one is driven distracted, if one is driven happy and peaceful and light. There's this sense, you don't even have to see the person in the car, you can sense it. And I knew with this pain that I was having a tough time sensing these cars. What I was feeling was as they passed, I could feel the pavement shake, and then it would shatter right up my spine. And I just knew this is not sensible. And so I decided, okay, I really need to consider another option here. I had to let go of my vision. I had to abandon what I thought this journey was going to look like and say, okay, I probably really need to ask for help. Part of this journey was putting myself out there to experience the love and kindness of others. So this was also another means of doing so. I just assumed it was going to be where I laid my head at night, not necessarily how I got from point A to point B. So as I'm making my way on Highway 64 and I start contemplating in my head about mile 3, I probably really need to start thinking of some sort of an exit strategy. I knew I wanted to move forward. I wanted to keep going because the woman that I stayed with the night before said, here's my phone number. If you ever get in any trouble, call me. I will come. I will help you. I felt that was, in a way, going back. And I knew that this source I was connecting to in this journey of peace was about opening myself up to possibilities that I could not even see or fathom. So here was the moment, and here I was, and I had to question my willingness and my readiness to be in that. Right about that moment when my decision was, okay, I think I'm willing to, quasi-hitchhike for this, 2 cars pulled off on the side of the road. It was a white truck, and it was a green Subaru. In particular, I noticed the green Subaru. It's something about Asheville. You feel at home with the Subarus. I don't know what it is. I felt this is a good human being. I'm going to connect with this person. And this woman gets out, and she is just this depiction of Mother Earth. She's got this beautiful long gray hair. She's wearing these just very natural fiber type clothes. And I approach her, and I say, excuse me, I'm walking in peace, and I'm experiencing being a pilgrim, walking towards Lenore today. Is there any way that you're heading in that direction you could give me a ride? And she said, no, unfortunately, I'm going in the other direction. And she said, and I'm about to stop for a while here and help clean up some of these wetlands, so I can't do it. I said, that's all right. And so I kept walking. And the great thing about walking in peace is that you start to recognize that you give people that you encounter freedom to be who and what they are. They can say no to me. They can not understand what I'm doing. They can't understand what I'm doing. They can join me in it. Either way, it doesn't matter. If I give them that freedom to be who and what they are, we're all met in peace. I'm always going to be peaceful. So I peacefully continued my journey, as peaceful as I could with what I was feeling in my legs. And I was at this point at the bottom of a hill. I started looking at this hill above me and thought, okay, I'm just going to keep walking until I find a gas station. When I'm going to find that gas station, I'm just going to park it. And I'm just going to see who's willing to help me out and get me towards Lenoir. So about at the crest of this hill, there happened to be this lovely, homely little gas station. And I think if you can imagine on some of these back roads, that homely gas station, which seems like it's been there for ages, this was that one. And right outside of it were the gas pumps. And then next to the gas pumps were was this cement block. And it was about this height as this stool. And I was just like, I just need to sit down. So I just had my pack on and I just sat at the edge and it rested on my pack and it just took my bum and I was just happy to stop for a second. And I was like, okay, here we go. We're just hanging out in front of a gas station and we're just going to see what happens next. And I started to look around and there was this white truck and this gentleman was pumping gas and I was like, well, should I ask him, see if he's going towards Lenoir? I mean, his car's kind of pointing that way. Maybe he's going there. But I also had to look at the situation, and what I had learned from the last 4 days was, there's these little symbols that let you know who's part of your tribe, right? And it could be this little angel of a statue that's outside of somebody's home, the Himalayan prayer flags, or something that says blessed. Like there's these little signs that we carry outside of our home to kind of give us a little call-out sign to say, hey, I'm one of you. Well, the one thing that is not in that is the welcome sign. The welcome mat, the welcome placard, the welcome pillows, the welcome flags do not necessarily mean welcome. You got to go a little bit deeper than that. There were some folks that had these beautiful array of welcome signs, and I wasn't welcome. And that's the freedom. But just to note, don't always take that welcome mat by its cover. Anyway, this gentleman on the back of his truck had this frog decal with the peace sign. Sure, some of y'all might have seen that before. And I was like, okay, I think he may be up for this. He may be up for what I'm offering to our encounter. So I took my pack off and I left it there, and I walk up to the man and I said, excuse me, is there any way that you might be heading towards Lenoir? I'm walking in peace and have just really found out today that I really just need that extra bit of help today to get there. And he said, oh, ma'am, I'm so sorry. He's like, I'm actually heading in the other direction. I have a lot of work to do. I can't do it. And I said, I understand. Because at this point, Lenoir is about 10 miles away, right? So this driver's going to take me 10 miles out, and if he's going to go the other direction, I can understand. I said, no worries, no problem. Well, as he drove off, I recognized, wow, I'm walking against traffic. This gas station is on the other side of traffic. So cars are coming from Lenoir in and heading towards Morganton. So I'm really not in a great position. And we are such creatures of convenience, man. Notice when you pull into a gas station, it's on your side of the road, right? Like you take that right in and you take that right back out. It's always that left across the road that we're like, I don't know if I want to take that. So I was like, wow, okay, I'm really hoping for a stroke of luck here, a little bit of a miracle, that maybe somebody's going to come through and actually be heading towards Lenoir. And so this gentleman drove off. It was an older gentleman with, gray hair, and he had a white T-shirt on. He had glasses on, and he drove off in his white truck. And so I go down and sit at my nice little cement block with my pack here and just kind of looking around, and cars are zooming in and zooming out, heading towards Morganton. Most of the cars now at this point are just kind of coming in and getting things from the gas station and heading out. Nobody's really pumping gas. So I just sit there and I start reaching this point of what am I going to do? I mean, how is this going to look? My body started to contract a little bit because I was in this unforeseeable space, and a space that I wasn't familiar with. And I just closed my eyes and connected to this higher sense that I connect to, and said, okay, you got to show up. You have to show up because I don't know what else to do. I don't know how this is going to turn out. So I literally said, okay, I release, I let go. And I didn't even open my eyes. And all of a sudden this voice said, if you're heading to Lenore, I can give you a ride. And I opened my eyes, and it was this white truck, older gentleman in a white truck, except he had a green sweater on, versus the one I saw before had no sweater on, just the white shirt. And I was a little confused. Is this the same person? And how did this person know I was going to Lenore? I'm really confused here. And so I got a little closer and said, excuse me. And he said, you asked my daughter down the road when we were cleaning some of the wetlands if you needed a ride to Lenore. Well, see, I didn't even notice him. I just noticed Mother Earth and went directly to her. And I was like, okay, I get it. And he was just so patient and so kind with me. He completely, as a woman, gave me space. He said, just do what you feel comfortable. If you need a ride, I'm happy to take you. If I go home, my wife's just going to make me do stuff. And I was like, okay. So I went into my intuition and, I kind of perused the inside of his car and, kind of checking things out. And I said, okay, I'll go for it. So I went around the car and put my stuff in. And before I even got in, he quickly showed me this picture, and he said, look, this is a picture that I took. And it was of a hummingbird feeding into a morning glory or feeding into another sort of plant. And it was this beautiful picture. I was like, oh, that's gorgeous. He's like, yeah, I take pictures. Like, that's what I do. I love photography. That's why we were cleaning the wetlands, so I could go there and take pictures of ducks. And it's like, oh, that's great. And so I get in the car. He hands me 3 full envelopes of pictures. And I start thumbing through. And this gentleman was looking over and said, oh, yeah, that duck I took right over there. I took a picture of that duck there. And, oh, yeah, that duck. Oh, yeah, and that day I saw 28 species of birds come through my house that one day. I thought I was making the safe decision of getting in the car and getting to Lenore, but as he was not paying attention to the road and showing me his photo album, I was like, I'm not sure what's safe. But I gladly took this moment in with this gentleman, these 10 miles, these 15 minutes or so, as he expressed to me his love for life, his gratitude for actually helping me. And as he's explaining his journey, we passed by a church. And on the church sign, it says, love has many choices. And love does. Love decided to pick me up that day and help me out. Love, as me, decided I needed to get off the road. Love decided I needed to meet him, just like I needed to meet every one of you tonight through this. So I wish you many blessings upon your pilgrimage as we move forward. And know that there is so much love and kindness out there. There is no need to be fearful. It's only reasons to love. Thank you.